The question that we are all wondering the answer to right now is, how does Sarada unlock her Mangekyou? And I want to talk about it. I've got some opinions, I got some thoughts. I keep seeing the debate of how she gets a Mangekyou, who's going to be gone in the time skip. Is it going to be Sasuke? Is it going to be Sakura? Is it going to be Naruto? Who's it going to be? Like, who's going in order for her to unlock that? So I want to talk about it a bit because I have got some opinions. Obviously there's gonna be spoilers in this video. I'm sure you can already tell that from the title, but just beware if you're not caught up on like everything, I guess. I'm coming at it from more just like a storytelling perspective and a franchising perspective, what I think would be a good move for Kishimoto to take, what I think would be a bad move, what I think will happen, what I think won't happen, and why. I'm a filmmaker, I studied film, I studied franchising, so I know a bit about that kind of thing. But I do want to say that I'm currently finishing up Shippuden and I have not watched Boruto yet. So I do want to just be upfront about that. But obviously by the time I catch up on freaking Boruto, like, we're gonna know the answer. So I wanted to just share my opinion before like we find out, because it's just kind of exciting still being a part of the fandom, like wondering, ooh, what's gonna happen. But I do think that you can kind of speculate on this even if you just know the main story, because the characters that we're looking at for the most part of losing are from the main story. And again, I'm talking about this from like a business franchise fandom, filmmaking technique perspective, rather than like, oh, X, Y, and Z happened in Boruto, so that's why it's gonna be Sakura, or that's why it's gonna be Sasuke. Because I don't know that. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know that. But I have seen bits and pieces of Boruto. I generally kind of know what's going on in Boruto, and I think you guys are gonna be on the same page as me. Even if you're caught up on Boruto, I think you're at least gonna kind of like understand the point of view I'm coming from here. So let's just get into it. Let's just go through person by person. There's a lot of speculation about each character, and I have a lot of opinions. And I will say that in the original 2 series, it went in some directions that I was like, ayo, what? Huh? So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move where I'm like, yikes, shouldn't have done that. I hope they don't, but they might. So the biggest one I've seen is people being like, oh my god, it's gonna be Naruto, it's gonna be Naruto, it's gonna be Naruto. I think it can't be, and here's why. From a franchise perspective, he can't die from anything other than like old age, to be totally honest. Like, sure, you could give him a hero's death. He's Hokage, he's the main character, he's the hero. You could give him this big hero's death, whatever. Save the village, something. But I don't think they're gonna do it. And here's why. The original 2 series, Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, still have so many new fresh eyes on them. I literally just bought this shirt at Target. Like, they're still selling the heck out of merchandise for the original series. Honestly, I hardly see Boruto merch, to be totally honest, and they're still really capitalizing on the original series. And so it would kind of taint the series, in my opinion, if they were to go the route of getting rid of Naruto and Boruto from anything but him just being old at some point, like once they've time skipped enough, I guess. Think of it this way. If you're a fresh set of eyes watching Naruto for the first time and he dies at a young age in Boruto, leaving behind his family, that he's like finally gotten a family, you know what I mean? Like, he's finally achieved his dreams, he's finally gotten a family. That's what we're rooting for throughout all of Naruto, is we just want to see him happy. We want to see him achieve his dreams. We want to see him have a family. We don't want to see him leave this family behind early and leave these kids in like a similar type of pain that like him and Sasuke felt in the original series. We don't want that. And so obviously, if Naruto is the one that goes, the whole world's gonna know. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like your typical spoiler of like finding out some specific detail of Boruto. The whole anime community will be in uproar if Naruto dies. So everybody's gonna know. You know what I mean? And I think with how successful the original series still is, even though it's been so many years, there's so many fresh eyes on it. There's such a big market for Naruto items, and like clearly that's being made, that's selling more than Boruto items. There's still a lot of people watching Boruto for the nostalgia of the Naruto series. They want to see the original characters rather than the Boruto characters. And yes, Boruto is its own thing, and like, sure, you can argue that people need to just like love it for what it is and love those characters and not expect it to just be this nostalgia trip, that it's something new. It can't just be, you know, the Naruto and Sasuke show anymore, but you've still got to keep those ties there, in my opinion. We very rarely see a main hero protagonist die. It doesn't never happen, but we rarely see it happen. And so that's why I think that it just does not make sense for it to be Naruto, because they're just not gonna do it from a business perspective. Like, I know that fans are gonna argue like, well, it's been out for so many years, people should have already watched the original one by now, so like it doesn't matter if it ruins the original series, but it does. If you're making money off of it, it matters. And it's gonna feel not as satisfying watching the original Naruto series if you knew that he, you know, dies in his 30s or whatever and leaves his poor children and wife behind. You know what I'm saying? It just gives, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you don't get the same satisfaction of like, oh yay, he finally gets a wife, oh yay, he finally gets kids, oh yay, he's finally Hokage, because it's like, it all gets ripped away from him so young. That's so unfair. And then you have that in the back of your mind the whole time you're watching the original series. And I think they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna taint the original series in that way. And also just, it rarely happens where a face of a franchise is killed off. Monetarily, it doesn't make sense. And I know that that's like a weird take maybe to people who are focusing on like the storyline and story progression, but from a business perspective, I really don't think they're gonna do that. Plus, story-wise, I may be wrong, but at least from my perspective of what I do know about Boruto and what I have seen is I don't quite know who would become Hokage after Naruto if that happened, because obviously kind of like our young characters who someone will probably eventually become Hokage, maybe Sarada, because that's Sarada's goal, but she's gonna be too young and too inexperienced at that point, so it's not gonna be her. And then, you know, it could be Sakura. That would be an option for sure, but that's like really the only option I can see, because like I know Konohamaru wants to be, but I've at least kind of heard that he's not quite Hokage level yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just kind of my speculation about that, is that I don't think there's gonna be a turnover of Hokage yet. And there would have to be if something happens to Naruto. And I just don't think, I think it's too devastating to do that, to be quite honest. The main character of a franchise, the parent of the main character, like I don't think they're gonna go that route. They shouldn't go that route, but I could be wrong. Now, let's get into Sasuke. So Sasuke and Sakura make a bit more sense to me because it's directly related to Sarada. That's the other big one that people are really speculating. I feel like that's the one that I think people believe the most will happen. And I think that's a bad move. I think it'd be a bad move from a filmmaking perspective to do that, because at least in my opinion, from what I know about what happens in Boruto, I feel like Sasuke has not quite had his like satisfying conclusion yet. Like, he was gone from Sarada's life for a long time. He's still kind of like a slight outcast of the village, and he just hasn't really gotten to enjoy much of his life yet. And I feel like we need to see a bit more of that from him with how like miserable his past was. Like, I don't think we've quite gotten enough happiness or like tied up ends in his story yet for them to get rid of him. Does that mean they won't? No. They might. I think it's a bad move, and I think that I personally, I don't know about everybody else, would feel a little bit unsatisfied if that was Sasuke's end and his conclusion, because I think there's just, I have complaints about the original two series as well with Sasuke, and I just feel like I need more in his storyline. I need more from it. I think it's kind of unfair to Sakura, after all the stuff she's been through, for then him to be ripped from her and Sarada before he's even really gotten to be that involved with the two of them. It would really suck, to be honest. I would like to see him more involved with the family before he goes. Now, Sakura, the other option. I really don't think it'll be Sakura. I'd be shocked if they did that, to be honest. Because first of all, like, I know all the, you know, the Sakura haters are gonna hate this take, but if Sakura dies, it kind of kills the vibes of the whole show. The vibes are gone, because Naruto's gonna be freaking miserable. Sarada's gonna be miserable, and like, let's be real, Sasuke's a little bit of a deadbeat dad. She needs her mom. Sasuke's gonna be miserable. This poor man will have then had literally like everything ripped from him other than his daughter, and I don't think, you know, there's only so much pain they can cause to each character, and I don't think they're gonna do Sasuke like that, to be honest. Tsunade will literally have everybody ripped from her too, and like Sasuke did, and like, Kakashi's gonna be miserable. Like, there's just gonna be too many people that are miserable if Sakura goes, and it just kind of kills the vibe. So I really don't think they're gonna do it. Plus I think that there's a good chance that she could become a Hokage, very Tsunade-esque Hokage one day, eventually. So I don't think they can do it. And she also has the 100 healings, which I think makes it a bit harder for her to die. So I don't think it's gonna be her. I really hope it's not her. I really hope it's none of the main three, to be honest, from Team 7, because I think it would be a very dumb move. Very dumb move, because then any of those ones go, it's similar to the Naruto thing. When you're watching the original series, you're rooting for all of them. You want them to have a happy ending, especially Naruto and Sasuke, because they've had so much pain. And like, you just really want to see things work out for them. And then knowing in the back of your head that they're gone so young, leaving behind their families like was done to them, it taints the original series. So I really don't think they're gonna do it, and they know that there's people who watch just for like one of those three, you know what I mean? For Naruto, Sasuke, or Sakura, or all three of them. Or there's a lot of people still watching Boruto for the old characters. And yes, that needs to change, but I don't think they're gonna like throw that away. So here's who I think is really gonna be the one to go. In my opinion, I think it's gonna be Konohamaru, which is very sad. I don't wanna see it happen, but it's kind of the Sarutobi curse, you know? Hiruzen, Asuma, and I think now it's gonna be Konohamaru. He's their sensei. It would have a big impact on Sarada. There'd be a lot of scenarios where he could, you know, have kind of like the hero's death of protecting those three. I could see it being protecting Sarada specifically, protecting Boruto because, you know, Naruto means so much to Konohamaru, and kind of going out saving Naruto's son. I could also see him going out saving Mitsuki as kind of a continuation of, you know, that Mitsuki's dad is the one who took his grandfather from him. And then when he found out, he was kind of like, yo, why didn't you tell me that? And Naruto wanted him to give Mitsuki a fair chance without knowing that. So I think it would be a big character development, kind of forgiveness, moving on type moment for him to go out protecting Mitsuki as well. So I just think there's a lot more scenarios where it makes sense for it to be Konohamaru, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't think it's that likely that he will become Hokage. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know it's his dream, and I think it's not quite likely that that will happen. Once the kids have grown up and move on to be doing their own things a bit more in the time skip, I think Konohamaru's character will kind of fall back into the woodwork a bit more, and he won't be seen as often anyways, and he still has a big impact on viewers. You know, we've watched him since he was little. It will still hurt like heck when he goes, but not quite as much as Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura. It won't quite put as big of a dent or downer on the original series, but still making a huge impact on viewers and a huge impact on Sarada. I think Konohamaru would probably be the smartest choice storytelling-wise and franchise-wise, but we'll just have to see, I guess. I really don't think that they're going to take away Boruto or Mitsuki from Sarada. Like, obviously, they've got to continue into the time skip. I think that's pretty obvious. But I do think there could be some potential there for maybe, like, she thinks one of them dies and it activates and then they're not actually dead, or there's some sort of, like, Orochimaru magic going on, bring it back to life. It would not be the first time a character comes back. That could also happen with any of the others. Sakura, Sasuke, Naruto. It could happen with any of them. I could see that being a route they take to kind of like scoot around having to kill off any of the main characters. But if somebody does truly go, in order for Sarada to get her Mangekyo, I think it's gonna be Konohamaru. So yeah, I know I'm not caught up on Boruto, and I'm like so sorry if you think that makes this opinion totally invalid, but again, I think I'm coming at this from just like a total like overall storytelling perspective and franchise perspective, rather than like anything to do with the actual current plot. And honestly, I don't think a lot of it has to do with the plot because it's a time skip thing, and it's more just about those relations to her and what's most likely and what's most convenient for the rest of the story on who they get rid of. Like, I don't think a whole lot of it comes down to anything that's currently happening in the plot. Maybe they're setting up for it, I just don't know it, but yeah. I think a lot of it really does come down to like what's a smart business and storytelling move for the creators. Generally, we've only seen side characters get killed off, and so I think they're gonna stick with that route. I think it's gonna be too much to take away any of the main cast, to be totally honest. If it's Orochimaru, I'm gonna riot. He's literally my favorite, and I'm so excited to see Boruto, to see him be a dad. Well, or a mom, to see him be a parent, rather. But yeah, I'm also gonna be very upset if it's sweet, sweet Mitsuki. The only thing I could see with Mitsuki is maybe it's him, and then Orochimaru has some way to bring him back. I mean, I know he can like create a new one, but like actually bring back that Mitsuki. Because I think technically, does somebody really have to go for her to unlock it? Because doesn't she just need to think that that's the case? Because don't they kind of just like unlock immediately once she feels that emotion of like, hold up a minute? Because like, and then they could just be alive, right? I hope. I don't know. It sucks to see any characters go. Can you not? Hopefully there's just a way to avoid it, but I think in terms of the story, effect on the audience, and you know, just upholding the sacredness of the original 2 series, I think our man Konohamaru is the most likely. Honestly, if it's Naruto, I think that's like really stupid, to be totally honest. Like, I think that that's a really dumb move to do for the franchise and just for his story. I think it would really suck if either Naruto or Sasuke leaves their kids when they're at such a young age. That like sucks. I don't know, it sucks. And that's not to say that things that suck can't happen, you know, like character deaths from the original series really sucked. So it's not to say that it's impossible, but I think with those characters, those key characters, it is just so hard to get rid of them because they have their own standalone series, and I think you can't get rid of them because it kind of messes with the OG series a bit if you do it. Like, it just wouldn't feel the same for people coming into the series anymore knowing that that happens. It kind of ruins it. Like, you're rooting for Naruto, you're rooting for Sasuke, only to already know that they kind of have this terrible fate later on in Boruto. So those are my thoughts and frustrations. I just already feel so frustrated in advance because I'm so scared. I'm so scared they're gonna pick one of like Sakura, Sasuke, or Naruto, and I just feel like it's such a bad choice. It's such a bad move. It's so dumb. It's so dumb from a franchise perspective, and it's gonna make me so frustrated if they do that. But hey, maybe it's what needs to happen for the character development. Maybe it makes Boruto a much stronger series. I had to get out my frustrations and my thoughts before, you know, we find out the answer. I'm excited to find out the answer. I'm excited to finish Shippuden and catch up on Boruto because I'm really genuinely looking forward to it. And I'm really excited for the time skip. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of Boruto, mostly like literally every clip, including Orochimaru. So I'm really interested to see like everybody in the time skip. And I really hope they fix Gaara's hair. Please fix that man's hair. If you do anything, you know, take whatever character we need to for Mangekyou other than Orochimaru, but fix that hair, please. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm super interested to have some discussions in the comments about what you guys think and what you guys think about my ideas. Do you think I'm right about Konohamaru? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think it's gonna be Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto? Somebody totally random. Like, what do you guys think? I'm really curious on what your guys' theories are. And again, I'm not claiming to know anything. I'm fully admitting that I've not watched Boruto yet. These are just my thoughts as somebody who's a part of the fandom and somebody who's a filmmaker and kind of knows about these types of behind the scene choices a little bit. Be sure to subscribe if you're new here. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.